Yo, what's going on guys? Havoc here and I'm back. Today we're back at it again with episode 4 of 12 things only Clash Royale OGs may remember. A series full of old Clash nostalgia and things that you just had to be there to fully understand. And goddamn, episode 3 might as well be one of those things because it's been 2 years. But hey, if you enjoyed today's episode, I highly recommend those previous ones. Full playlist will be down below and it'll also be at the end of the video. Anyways, let's get right to it.
Let's do this.
No friends. Some things never change, huh? Nah, but really, I'm referring to back when there was literally no friend system. There was no adding friends through 2v2, there was no Supercell ID, there was no friend links. No, the only way to add friends was through Facebook or Game Center, and on Android, Google Play, or whatever the equivalent is for Game Center. But of course, no one wanted to do all that. Who the hell is adding friends through Game Center? What is this, 2012? And Facebook? Nobody wanted to share anything that private with someone just to play a game. Having friends in those days was a tedious process, and I never understand why they didn't just copy what Clash of Clans had. Makes that game seem like it's from the future. Eventually, they did add friend links in 2017, but that was an even worse nightmare. Having to share your link outside the game, what kind of what? Thank God we have other options today. I mean, needing to 2v2 with someone is a tad bit annoying sometimes, but I'd rather have fun losing at a 2v2 than to have to DM or share my number just to add someone. Supercell ID has also came in clutch lately. It used to be kind of useless years ago in terms of friends, but it's improved so much and it's seamless. It's way better. Adding friends back then was such an annoying process. Tournament location. When tournaments were released in July 2016, there was something odd about it that has never really occurred in any other Supercell game. It would ask you for your location, and when you started a tournament, long and behold, it showed your location. Of course, you could have just not allowed it, but a lot of us did because it was supposed to help players find local tournaments. However, the location information displayed was very precise sometimes, a little too much. In some cases, not only showing your town or city, but the specific region of your town. The feature was kind of buggy, and to be honest, it was very unnecessary. There was some bug fixes along the way, but ultimately it was decided to remove it altogether a couple months later. This is definitely a weird memory. Let me know if you remember this one. All equal emotes. Ever since emotes were introduced in June 2018, they've become this thing that a lot of us collect, especially those limited, exclusive emotes. It's easy to tell which ones those are because they have a very obvious shiny legendary border around them. However, some of you may remember a time when that wasn't even a thing. Yeah, the exclusive emotes back then weren't distinguishable at all. All of the emotes were equally alike. You just kind of had to know, you know? The very first obtainable exclusive emote was the reward for those who had legendary trophies from the OG ladder system. But unless you read the patch notes or saw TV Royale, you would have never known it was exclusive. It's just another ghost emote, you know? And this was kind of a bummer because players wanted to be able to show that they had this limited emote that nobody else could get. So in April 2019, emotes finally got that legendary aura around them. And just like that overnight, exclusive emotes became that much more worth it. Season reset floodgates. Does anyone remember when every time the season was reset, trying to play ladder the first couple of days was incredibly hard? Don't click that button, just don't do it. Yeah, it's because back then when the season reset, everyone would go back to the same trophies. It was wild. At first, it was 3,000 trophies, but then they increased it to 4K, but increasing it never really solved the issue of highly skilled players and high-level players flooding mid-ladder. It was terrible. Eventually in 2018, they changed it to where you lost a percent of the trophies and not go back to square one. Nowadays, it's completely different with the Path of Legends, but I'll never forget avoiding ladder like the plague the first few days of a season reset. Muting emotes. Kind of. Does anyone remember that time where you could finally mute emotes, but Not really, because it still showed this. Unless you were playing between September to November 2016, you might have not even been aware this was ever a thing, or maybe just forgot. A lot of you are aware that muting emotes back in the day was kind of a controversial topic, but in September 2016, they finally let us mute them. But there was a catch. Muting emotes would appear as a blank emote with 3 dots on it, kind of like the button you use right now to open the emotes. So you muted them, but you still knew if they BM'd. A lot of players weren't a big fan of this. It's like Supercell was telling everyone, fine, you can mute emotes, but we're gonna do it our way. However, they quickly changed their mind, and in November, muting them would simply display nothing, how it should have always been. Speaking of muting emotes, it also took forever for this mute feature to finally be permanent. Up until April 2018, you had to keep muting it every match, which was hella annoying. Clash Nights. This one is so buried in Clash history that to some it's gonna sound like a fever dream. But some of you may remember, and I sure do, but barely. So Clash Nights was announced in late 2017. The Clash Royale channel uploaded an entire thing on it, and some creators even vlogged the first event. It was supposed to be a platform where players can meet up, play Clash Royale, and win prizes. This was in beta for a while in many countries around the world, and if you were in one of those cities, you had this button inside the game under the News Royale tab called Meetups. And apparently in the cities that it was active, it was pretty dang fire. Unfortunately, it never really took off outside those cities, and the hype died down dramatically. So much that they just shut down the platform altogether in early 2019. I really wish it was still around. I never got a chance to experience it, but oh well. Color names. Ah yes, nothing screams 2016 like a random Clash Royale screenshot and someone with a color name. This was possible by typing some funny codes in your name, and all of a sudden, everyone was rocking one. It worked in clans, clan chat, matches, pretty much anywhere your name was visible. And the best part, it was very easy. Anyone could do it. Unfortunately, this was patched in April 2016. The good thing though is that everyone was given a free name change to fix their name. However, some of you may be aware that this is still kind of possible and has been since the past Royale update, as the golden names once again enabled the codes to be used. But you need Pass Royale. It doesn't work anywhere but matches. Like in the clan, the codes look visible, which look kind of goofy. It's not worth it. It's not really the same. Color names like we had them before April 2016 will never return, but it was fun while it lasted. Old trade system. Added into the game in September 2018, there were a couple different things about trading then that is very different to today's trading. The biggest difference is that you could only trade one card. This meant that you often needed to ask the person you were trading with what they wanted, so it was kind of like an in-the-moment thing. You couldn't just assume what someone wanted and log off and expect someone to accept it, unless you were trading something really good. Not only that though, you only needed one person to have a token to trade. So both players didn't need a token. One player would initiate the trade, and that was it. You could accept it even if you had no tokens. Eventually, over time, trading was changed completely, and I'm sure you know how it works today. Honestly, I prefer it much today. You can just like do a trade and get off, and you don't gotta wait. Years of hero leaks. It seemed like every year before Champions, there was at least one piece of news of heroes or a higher rarity coming soon. Whether they were mentioned in the game's code, assets being found like full-blown pictures, data miners figuring out that heroes had abilities, fake release dates, yada yada. You couldn't escape the vast amount of hero leaks that went on for years on end. I even uploaded a handful of them because I was hyped as well. To everyone's surprise, it turned out that a lot of these leaks were pretty accurate. But damn, I'll forever remember those days getting hyped over something that we wouldn't see for like 6 years down the road. Old 2v2. Many of you may remember that 2v2 was a temporary game mode, but does anyone remember just how different 2v2 actually was? For starters, you could only play with your clanmates. There was no quick match or playing with friends. No, 2v2 was specifically a clan event and nothing more. You couldn't even get chests from it at first. It was also played at tournament standard, and it always took place in the Royal Arena. Basically, 2v2 was just a game mode with its own set of rules that came around every now and then, similar to touchdown mode. The reason for so many changes is that it eventually became part of the game, and not just a game mode. But there's one more change that some of you may have forgotten. The King Tower used to be conjoined like one big tower, but in 2019 they were separated in time for tower skins for the season pass. For some reason I completely forgot this was ever a thing, but then again 2019 was a pretty long time ago. Special boost. I mentioned this recently in an unrelated video, but it almost felt like I was talking about some prehistoric feature, and that's because it came and went very quickly. Announced in November 2017, there were 3 boosts available: Victory Gold to boost the gold you got from winning a match, Crown Chest boost which doubled its contents, and the Chest Speed Up boost which a lot of newer players may be more familiar with, as you get a free one every time you reach a new arena. However, around mid-2019 was around the time when these boosts last appeared in the shop. It was in the game for a little over a year and a half. So what happened in mid-2019? Well, seasons. For one, the Crown Chest boost was no longer viable as the way you got crowns was now entirely different than before, and the Victory Gold boost, well, more often than not those were free and we had Gold Rush anyways. Basically, the purpose of these boosts was quickly replaced by other things, and one day they just disappeared. Arenas were backwards. Okay, this one is a rather small one, but you know how arenas progress going up? So you need to scroll up to see the higher ones, and as you progress, you go up the ladder. You know, that's where it comes from. Well, once upon a time, that was the other way around for a while. You had to scroll down to see the higher arenas. This was most likely done because scrolling down is such a natural thing to us when scrolling through social media, so it made sense to just have it the same motion. But in the update where they added leagues, this was reversed. Probably because it made it easier for a lot more people to understand. Up is up and down is down, you know, there's no arguing that. So guys, that wraps it up. 12 more things only OGs may remember. I love doing these videos, and man, it's been so long, but I mean, I kind of stopped uploading Clash Royale shortly after the last episode, as I recall. So that's the reason between the huge gap. But lately, I've just been enjoying the game a whole lot more again. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Havoc Gaming out. Peace!